Mm.
Kevin.
Mm.
Kevin.
Mm.
Fancy a quickie?
Mm. Yes.
Not that sort of quickie. This sort of quickie. Now, I've been guilty in the past of having a very pedantic approach to sketching, which is basically not sketching at all. I was worried about, it's not quite right, there's not the likeness that I want, maybe the perspective's off, and I'd be so bogged down by that I wouldn't be enjoying the process at all. I was just too focused on what the result was going to be like. And of course, if it wasn't perfect, then I wasn't happy. And really, that's not what sketching's about at all. And I have to say, over the last couple of years, my approach to sketching has completely changed. Now I will sketch really, really quickly. I don't really care about the result. I just really love the process. I really find it a joyful experience. And I don't even care if somebody looks at my sketchbook now, whereas I used to be really worried and concerned about what they'd think. Now I don't care. As long as I've caught the energy of, what's going on around me, or the just the sense of my surroundings, it really doesn't matter whether it's correct or not. It's just about the joyful experience that I've had doing it. So I've just been flicking through some of my sketches, and from how I used to sketch, I suppose, you can see they're quite laboured really. Nothing wrong with them, but take a look at this one, for example. Nice drawing. I was quite happy with it. Problem is, can't really remember much about it. Can't remember anything about it, actually. This is where my sketching approach has completely changed. Trafalgar Square. Probably did that in about 10 minutes. And that's all I needed. And I remember the weather, I remember hearing the pigeons, and this guy here, I remember he was asleep. At least I hope he was asleep. That guy there kept turning around, 1 minute facing one way and the next facing the other. But it was great fun just adapting and trying to capture what I was seeing and capture the moment. And from the same vantage point, these are two different viewpoints. And there's nothing perfect about these at all. There really isn't. This one actually, here, is after a couple of beers in a bar in Covent Garden. But it's funny, there's so little information on that page, and yet I remember every single moment. I just remember everything about it. So yeah, you don't have to sit and, worry about the result. Just follow your eyes, take in the surroundings, just get some energy. And I'll tell you what, when I look through this sketchbook, I get a lot more joy out of it, and a lot more memories from this than I do any of the other ones that I've done in the past. So the sketches I showed you earlier in my book, I was actually using a Lamy Safari pen, which has water-soluble ink. So I would do something similar to this and then just brush with water to add some sort of ink to make the shadows. But here I'm just using a Uniball Uniball pen, sorry. And I'm just really loosely following my eyes really with my hands, and you can almost see that I'm pretty much looking at the subject more than I am the paper, which is why the lines are kind of all over the place. But I think when you're sketching like this, you've got to not be precious at all. You look at the feet, they're just squiggles, but somehow it seems to work. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think it's quite funny because your paintings are like highly precise.
Yeah.
And your sketches used to be fairly precise as well. So this is a complete turnaround for you, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, I think this is where I have fun and just have fun and not be precious. And I think that's quite important, actually. And it's a way of just being a bit more expressive and having a bit more fun and not worrying too much about the result. And to practice like this is so good for when we're out sketching. I mean, we do a lot of sketching trips together, don't we? And, when you're trying to capture someone before they leave, this is when this kind of sketching is actually really worthwhile practicing, because you will always get people that get up and go, and you get far more energy and movement in the drawing if you just don't worry about it. Just get what you can while you can.
Yeah, and I think something was important that you said earlier, that was you're looking at the person more than you're looking at the paper. I think that's really important when you're trying to catch something really quickly.
You can tell by watching what I'm doing that really I'm not so much looking at what my hand is doing. My hand is following what my eyes are looking at.
Yeah.
So, if you were to look at my face, I'd probably have my eyes up a lot more than down. But it's quite surprising. In time, when you practice a lot, you'll find that your hand and eye coordination gets so much better. And funny enough, I think as well, the more loose and expressive your lines are, the more you can actually get away with. Because you end up doing so many lines that one of them is almost bound to be correct, and that's automatically what the eye will try and see. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and I think also this sort of style or sort of loosening up is great for someone who in general is really tight and precious with their work. Just to completely let go and have a go at something totally different without worrying about the results.
And with something like this, I mean, you could have even more fun with it. You could do something like this over perhaps some collage, background, or you could put some really loose sort of watercolour washes over the top to give it a bit of interest. If this were in a sketchbook, you can add a bit of colour later on. I just quite like doing these quick black and white ones, to be honest. And as you can see, I think I did all these in one session. So the more you do, the better they get. Or I don't know whether it's the better they get, but the more effortless they become in a way.
Yeah, I think these would look great, like you said, with watercolour wash. I could really see them done like that. Even if it wasn't like applied really precisely, just some, so it goes over the lines and mixes a bit. That'd look really cool.
I think if you tried to do watercolour precisely, then that would just not look right over a sketch like this. So, yeah, the whole point is just being loose, being a bit free, and not worrying too much about where your lines are going. Good night. Why not check out our previous videos, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss your Art Kick Sunday. Meanwhile, you can check out our podcast and find the creative challenges we have coming up at www.kickinthecreatives.com. Back soon.